Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new episode of the Creative Insider. In this episode, I had very much fun with my brother and friend, Alessandro Cavarretta. He is from Milan, and he has studied at Politecnico di Milano, and he has have several experience in Spain and Argentina. We have talked about his way to becoming an architect and his dream of designing a stadium, but it was very much fun and was very entertaining. So yeah, it was nice also because he was live in the new studio, so he was the first live guest in the new studio. And people, I want to tell you that there are other big news. By the end of the month, I will be having some chat with some people from an office, a visualization office called Luxigon, so one of the biggest offices in the world. So yeah, go follow at TCI Podcast on Instagram or the Creative Insider on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and there will be the chance to send me your questions for our guest. So yeah, go follow. Thank you and enjoy our chat. Hello, Alessandro. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm Gorgi. Hi, everybody. I'm really fine.
You're the first since a while that it's in the first new studio, and you're the first since a while that's live. So we're recording face to face, not online.
Well, this is really amazing, and I have to say that the studio is great.
Yeah, it's still not ready. There are stuff to do, but the new flat looks very good and it's very nice, and I hope it will sound fine also in the podcast.
Yeah, I like really, really very much. And thank you to inviting me here. It's really...
we finally managed. I have invited you. You were like one of the first invited, but it took a while.
Yeah, you're right. But hopefully we don't have to wait other days or hours, only a few seconds and we can start.
Yeah, of course. So cool that you're here. So for the people you don't know, of course, Alessandro is a very good friend of mine.
Yes.
We met here in Frankfurt. We are Italian expats in Germany.
Yes, it's really nice.
I'm from Rome. He's from Milan.
Of course.
A little rivalry here.
Yeah,
but we're good friends.
Yeah, really.
And so introduce yourself a little bit to the people. Who are you? What you do?
Okay. Hi again. I'm Alessandro Cavarretta. I'm from Milan, like Georgi said. I'm an architect, and currently I'm living and working here in Frankfurt.
How old are you, Alessandro? How old are you?
Oh, too old.
No, come on. 30?
Okay, 32.
32. 33 is Jesus age.
Yeah, okay, I have a few months.
A few months before. So I invited you because I think it's very cool to have the opportunity to talk with friends about their path or becoming a professional creative as you did. And in your case, there are very, very different topics which to me are interesting because we have worked together for 2-3 years, I guess.
Yes.
And at work, we have chatted a lot about what you have done, what I have done. But we have never had like real time to talk about really what you have done in detail. Yeah. I know like more or less what you have done, but I don't know details. So today we're gonna uncover the real story behind yourself. So you are an architect, as I am. When in your life you decided you wanted to be an architect?
I don't remember the exact moment when I decided to be an architect. In our family, we don't have relatives in the world of construction or architecture. Only our grandpas, when they were young, they work for a few years like carpenter and construction worker. But of course, like a lot of architects, I can say that when I was young, I played a lot with Lego, and I really love to draw. I really draw a lot, and during the years I've kept this passion, sketching, painting, technical draws. At my parents' home in garage, there are still plenty of boxes full of our drawing.
You say our because people don't know that there are two Cavarrettas,
Yes.
which are like copy pasted.
Yeah. I have to do a little clarification. Like you said, it could possible that during the interview I'll speak in plural, and that is not because I have a split personality, but because, as you already said, I have a twin brother, and of course we did a lot of stuff together. And whoever has twins knows that sometimes we are used to speaking in plural. And of course, we ended up studying architecture both.
So maybe you'll be the first brothers that come on the podcast. I first interview you and then interview your brother.
Yeah.
And maybe we can make that happen when he comes in the next few weeks.
Yeah, this would be super. He is actually in London, and he's working there and living there.
So it's great because he'll listen to the podcast of you and he'll be like, I'm a twin brother. I need to do that too. I need to go. Of course, and this podcast is great, getting bigger and bigger. So
yeah, of course, I know that. Now, anyway, if we come back to the question, I remember a moment when I was in the last year of secondary school, when I was about 13. When in the Italian school system, the students have to decide in which high school they want to go, and there are really a lot of possibilities. And I remember that I was uncertain between Liceo Artistico and Liceo Scientifico Tecnologico. And for the people that are listening now and they're not Italian, I can simplify that one is more artistic and the other more scientific.
Yeah, the first one is the one I've studied.
Yes, yeah.
I went to the School of Art, and you went to the technical school. It's about sort of preparing you for engineering and stuff like that.
Yeah, something like that. It was also like for me it was not so like a easy decision. Even though inside I was almost sure that in the future I wanted to do something in the world of construction, and in the art high school there was even a course in architecture. In the end, I decided to go to the other school, to the scientific one.
Yeah, I went to the artistic one because I saw there was architecture after the third year, and I was like, okay, let's go for that one. But for me at that age, I didn't want to take the path so specific that it would have restricted my future choices. And if I had changed my mind about architecture, for example, I would have a wider choice. At the end, I didn't change the idea. And at the end of high school, I was pretty sure that I wanted to study architecture. But I have to say that I'm glad that I made that decision because this scientific school gave me an important basis for my future further university studies. I don't know, like the method of study and the scientific knowledge. So it was I was pretty happy because I knew how to use different softwares and draw in AutoCAD already. Mm-hmm. So like all the other students were like, oh my God, he knows a lot of shit. But concerning maths and static and physics, my goal was to pass the exam. That's it. No further goal. Like if you pass the exam, that's a big success. Okay, so you decided that you wanted to be an architect. But did you discuss that with your brother? Like, were you put two together and like, dude, what are we doing?
Yeah, of course. We spoke about a little bit, and I was pretty sure, like from the beginning, almost. And my brother, he had different ideas, but at the end, he decided also to study architecture. But we were not in the same faculties because I will a little bit informal. Also, the people that in Milan and in the Politecnico di Milan, there are a different department of architecture.
So you studied, as you said, at Politecnico di Milano, Politecnico of Milan, which is recently I've seen some chart or something. It's always like around top 10 of universities for architecture in the world.
Yeah.
So there was another cool reason to invite you to tell the people more about how one of the top universities in the world works and how you can get into the university. And I haven't studied in Milan, but Rome is also good. I've studied in the biggest university.
I know. Now, as you know, I'd like to start from the beginning. And it was, if I remember well, summer 2007 when I took my high school diploma, and I already knew that I want to study architecture, and I had to do an entrance exam, a test. Like I already said, I'm from Milan, and there is the Politecnico di Milano. It's not so bad university. And for this reason, I had also a lot of pressure because, as you know, there are not so many positions. And
spots, like for...
Spots, yeah. This is the right word.
Don't worry, I'll help you. People will understand.
And the request is extremely high. And above all, I had also no plausible alternative. I had one in case the test didn't go well. A course without the entrance test. It was like administrative sciences or something like that, but it would have been a fallback, only not to remain like a year without university. So and it was really no a credible choice. And for me, there was clearly only one scenario: pass the test and study architecture. And I remember that.
But the other faculty was without entrance test. You just subscribe for the faculty, then you study your plan B.
My plan B, it was like
just you subscribe and you're good to go.
Yeah, it was like without tests. But I remember before the test, there was like also the chance in the university to do a pre-test week where people could be trainee and understand which kind of question there were, and it was really helpful. And as you know, these multiple choice questions varied from general culture to logic, from maths to art, English. And I really, really remember the test day because thousands of people were there only for a few hundred places. And the estimate, it was like one every 6-7 people. That is, one person in 7 would have made it. And only design was worse. It was like 1 in 10. But fortunately, I passed the test and I could study architecture.
Do you remember how many spots there were and which number were you in the...
This is a good question. I don't remember well, but I mean, in my faculty and my course of study, Architettura delle Costruzioni, there were like 150 places.
Oh, okay.
And I was maybe in general 600 or 700 in the general classification.
Okay.
And I could study in this in what I choose, and it was really
I can tell you the story about how I got into the faculty.
Please.
Because in Rome was the same. I think it was 1 every 5 people. And I think, when you study in a school of arts, it's a school where, you can go and study because you want to study arts, but there are also a lot of people which are punk, hippie, and they do a lot of drugs and they study more painting and not architecture. So not a lot of students make it to, and it's also easier to pass if you wanted to without studying that much. So I went, my plan was that I have to get into the University of Architecture, and the plan B was to go 1 year in London, work in London, and then come back to study architecture.
Oh, wow.
And me and my best friend from the high school, we decided to do the test, but and we did it for the hardest courses of studies, because they're like normal university 3 years and then master, bachelor and master, and we did the 5-year master, which is the most prestigious. And there were 350 spots, and there were 3,000 people. So you're in many buildings, many places. I think we were, because have the similar letter of our last name, we went in the same room. And that was, I think, 2012. So it was the year when they just released the movie Batman, the third part, with Christopher Nolan.
The Night Rise.
Yeah, something like that, where there is Bane, where they put them in the PD and he needs to go out, and he succeed only when he doesn't have a rope.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, we don't have plan B, but we don't have a rope, so we know that we're going to make it. And I studied, I remember I bought there are those books with the questionnaires, because as you said, the questions are not related to what you're going to study really, so that everybody can get into. And I've studied the whole summer. I was doing those things. It looks like for the people who don't know, it looks like when you do the driving license, you just solve a lot of them, and then you get some of those questions. And my friend didn't do shit all summer. And he got like number 50.
Wow.
I was number 150 or something. Wow. But when and I remember one day I was checking for the results, but there was nothing in the morning. And I went to visit a friend, and then he calls me like, "We got it. We're in." Oh, I was like, "Oh, so cool." So this is how it for me also was.
Yeah, I mean, I also I was relieved, because it was really a lot of pressure. And I studied Architettura delle Costruzioni, like I said, I would say the classic one, with a strong base of static, mechanic. And Andrea, my brother, he decided to go to Architettura Ambientale, that with more focus on alternative materials. Because I don't know how it is in La Sapienza Rome, but at the time, in the Politecnico of Milano, like I said, there was like 2 architecture departments, 2 faculties, and 2-3 courses of study each. And at the end of your university career, you were in any case an architect, that of course, but with a different background, a different philosophy. So it could really have at end different knowledge, but it.
Yeah, for the Roman university is the same, but that was more differentiated in the 3+2 year. So there you have many different studies like you do in Milano, but I studied the 5 year. So you actually study all together the same thing in the beginning, and then you have during your studies you have choices, and when you do the choices, then you differentiate your background. But I was in Erasmus here in Frankfurt, so I picked up courses of studies which were evaluated in Italy like something, but they were not that same thing. So, and I remember I needed to do mathematics too. And in Rome, it's impossible. I wouldn't have become architect if I needed to do it there. And I picked up a class here, which was about some wooden constructions. And I said that we need to calculate some shit for that stuff. And that's the mathematic course. And they were like, okay. And I never did that. That's what people in Europe go to Erasmus to do the exams they wouldn't do at the home university.
Yeah, when I was in Erasmus, I did something like that also.
So you studied, this is your bachelor, and how was the studies in Milano? Was it very hard? How was it? How was your life in?
Yeah, it was hard, I have to say. But yeah, I have to say that during the first years in the university, my target was only finishing the study. I didn't want delay. Maybe could be, I don't know, that I felt a little bit an intentional pressure from my parents because they paid our rent for the university, and we lived with them, and they often told us how important it was to finish the study in time. And maybe also because at the beginning I probably, lived the university as if I was still in high school, because it was with this mentality that going to class, going home, doing homework, preparing for exam, and moving on. But then, as time went by, I realized that the university could offer more, and that it was really a big occasion to increase not only knowledge, but also connections, or to make international experience like Erasmus. And the opportunity presented itself in my first year of my master degrees, because after my bachelor thesis, I decided to change my course of study. Same faculty, same department, same building, but different course of study.
But did you need to do again an access test?
No,
just
it was like direct.
Okay. And but how was the bachelor? Was it very difficult?
Yeah, it was really a lot of work. It was like a lot of static, mechanic. And for this reason, I decided that after these 3 years, I wanted to change this course of study, because I really learned a lot. But all this stuff, all these subjects like mechanic, it was really a lot of hours, a lot of exams, and it was too much. And I wanted to do less of it, and I wanted something where I could concentrate more on aesthetic part of the project, the volumes, the shapes, and also interior design. And so I remember that a lot of people decided to change the course of study for the same reasons. But anyway, this for 3 years, this bachelor, it was really interesting. It was we did really a lot of projects, and on not only like new buildings, on also the renovations, restoration. It was nice, and we worked a lot also during the night. I remember.
Yeah, we did. Like I have 2 personal bests. One is 3 nights in a row, and the second one is I think 4 nights in a row. And at the end of the 4 nights, in the morning, I went with a friend because he needed to shower back home. And I was like, because he wanted to drive. And I told him, you cannot go yourself because you want to fall asleep and nobody will be able to wake you up. And the same morning we needed to present the project. So I went with him and I sat on his couch and he went showering. And meanwhile, when he was showering, I fell asleep.
Wow.
And then he started shaking me for 15 minutes to wake me up because I couldn't wake.
Yeah, and then it's really crazy sometimes. Some days, these days before the exam, they are so crazy. I remember one time that I was with 2 friends of mine that we didn't sleep for like 2 or 3 nights in a row. And then we started to do like 15 minutes naps. And it was like horrible because after 30 seconds you were fell asleep, and after only 10 minutes or 15 minutes you have to wake up again.
So somebody came to wake you up, or
yeah.
Oh man, that's like torture.
Yeah, totally. But
and then you switched to the master, and you said that you have discovered this whole new realm of opportunities.
Yes, but it was not like I thought, because when I was in this new course of study, I faced some professor with a different philosophy in teaching architecture compared to my professor of the first years. This theoretical professor with a lot of knowledge and with a lot of experience within the university walls, but without concrete and tangible experience outside. And I was, like I said, in my first years of master, and I was not so really happy with my, I don't know the name, this laboratorio di progettazione, this my design workshop, my project course.
Design workshop.
Yeah, and that was a big deal because that was more than 20 credit points, and it was the most important exam. and also because that design workshop would have been preparatory for the one of the following year. And that means that I would have had 2 years to develop the same project with the same professor. And I really, really didn't like the fact that before to start to design my building, I had to do 1 year analysis of the history of the area, on the context and other boring stuff. And exactly in that moment, I decided to look around to search something that I could like again. And I came with the idea to do an Erasmus.
So you have talked about credit points. I want to explain because there are some people which are not from Europe which listen to the podcast, and I don't know if in other continents they have different system. They can contact the social media channels of the podcast to say that. But here in Europe we have these credit points which define how difficult an exam is, and this is why because of Erasmus. Erasmus is this exchange program, and so when you go abroad, you need to have the same credit points, so you have done the same difficulty, the same exam of the same difficulty, and that's how they do the comparison, and then they take the grade from abroad to the local university. And so you decided to go to an Erasmus.
Yes.
And how did you pick up your destination?
Also, I started to take an interest in it, and my goal was to go to the Iberian Peninsula, Spain or Portugal, also because I really liked the architects from there, like Alvaro Siza, Souto de Mora, Rafael Moneo, Bofill, Campo Baeza. They were often my reference during my architecture projects. And I always also find nice Spain, and the Spanish life.
It's like Italian, just in Spanish.
Yeah, and of course the difference, the language, it's different, but really similar, and would not have been a problem. So I remember that I applied for cities like Valencia, Madrid, Coimbra.
Do the Spanish pronunciation.
Valencia. Coimbra in Portugal, and as last choice, Granada. All quite coveted destination. I remember, for example, that for Valencia or Madrid, there were only 2 available places each, and more than 20 people showed up for the interviews. It was crazy. After several interviews.
But what did you do to get the spot for those universities?
You had to speak with a professor in Milan, and you have to bring like a portfolio with your project, and you had to show them your capacity, like with the languages, with why you want to go there, something like that. And
but how many people are there, like in your studies, like course? Because I think in Rome it's just too big. So the system is they just look at your average grade. So you don't bring a portfolio. You go there. My average grade is this one. Okay, you can pick the first, and then every university has spots. So you apply for this chart, and then they do like first day 30 people goes, and then some of the universities, for example, the Politecnico de Madrid, all the best schools like Munich goes away, and then the second wave goes and then the last few people go to Poland. I mean, I don't think Poland is bad. Just people from Italy want to go somewhere else. But a lot of people which went to Czech Republic or Poland were super happy, or to Bulgaria too, because they were like, oh, we had a lot of great time and it was super cheap and the girls loved us. So I was the second wave because I was also like you. I was thinking, okay, I have 2 options. Whether I go to Germany to make some connections and later I can find a job there, or I go to Spain because I will learn about architecture. And I told my parents, maybe I should go to Madrid because we can easily fly to there and I know people and it's easy to, Spanish, it's not difficult.
It's not like Germany.
Yeah. And then they told me that it was very hard because they need to send letters to the universities to make us go. So they said the deadline for Frankfurt is too close and blah, blah, blah. And then I was in this waiting room with a lot of my friends. And they were like, where are you going to go? I'm like, Madrid. Oh, Madrid. Maybe that other, but no, Frankfurt, Madrid. And I get in and I sit, and the professor I knew, she asked me, where do you want to go? And I'm like, Frankfurt. So at the end, I managed to come to Frankfurt.
Okay.
And so you did the portfolio and everything?
And then I went there and I spoke with 2 or 3 professors also, because there are like one professor has like more different universities, have to manage different universities. And so it was like I spoke with one professor for the city, for Valencia and Granada, and with another professor only for the University in Madrid. And so it was really like a long process, and also there it was not so easy, because in the Spanish universities the spots were not so much. It was like only 2 or 3 places for each university. And yeah, after these several interviews, I received the free pass for Granada.
So Granada was your last choice?
Yes, it was the last choice.
How many choices did you have again?
I had 4.
4. So plan D.
Yeah, it was like not a plan. It was like, because I had 2, but it was not in my mind.
I think my plan D was something like Corbus, somewhere I think it's in Eastern Germany. I'm not sure anymore, but that was my plan.
No, like I said, I have to be honest. At the time when I put Granada in that list, I was not aware about the incredible beauty of the city and the fact that it was the Erasmus city par excellence. Did you already see Granada? You went already there?
I've never been there. But I'm now curious to ask you something beside architecture.
Yes.
How did La Cristina reacted to the little son living? So La Cristina, it's Alessandro's mom.
Yes.
A lot of greetings to Cristina when she listened to this podcast.
Ciao mamma.
Ciao Cristina. Ci vediamo presto. What did your parents, how did they react to this thing?
I have to say they wasn't not at the beginning. They started to like, okay, could be interesting, no? But they thought that maybe it could be only an idea, that because they did, or they knew already that it was like a long process, and so maybe they thought, okay, Alessandro maybe had only an idea, but nothing really like concreto.
That's very Italian.
Yeah.
Like, he's just talking.
But then they told me like, but are you sure? It's don't you want to stay here and I don't know, want to finish your university and then start a direct and a job? But then they saw me that I wanted to do that. And so they were like really happy that I could have the possibility to do this great experience. And when I was there in Granada and I have to search, I was searching a flat, an apartment, they decided, Cristina, Antonio, my father, and Andrea, my brother, all the family together, we were in Granada, and they helped me with the search of my flats. And also because they said me, okay, we never been in Granada, it's a really good occasion to see a new part of Spain.
And so for how long did you go, and when did you leave, in summer or when?
Yes, it was, I was there in August. And at the beginning, I had a 6 months contract, but after a few weeks there, I realized that I wanted to stay longer.
How did you realize that? How were your first day in Spain? How was because when I came here, it was very much. I came a little later as everyone else because I needed to do some stuff in Italy. And it was a lot of events for Erasmus people, and we were just a community international from everywhere. How was your experience there?
I was there really early because it was, like I said, end August. And so when I was in the university, we did this bureaucracy stuff in 10 minutes. And then they told me, okay, we'll see in 2 weeks. So I had fun. So I had the first 2 weeks where I could see the cities and know new people. And Granada is a little bit, it's smaller than Frankfurt, so it's smaller than Frankfurt, but the community, the Erasmus community, is so big, and so it was like only if you went to the street, you could direct meet people. So it was like no need to organize meeting or something like that in internet. It was really the real Andalusian philosophy, so to really live the streets with the bar of tapas, students from all over the world. This Andalusian culture, it was really, really a nice experience, and for me it was also my first long experience outside Italy, and
outside home with your parents also.
During the high school I was like for 2 weeks, like in Finland or in other places. But for so long it was the first time, and was so a beautiful, positive cultural shock.
What was the cultural shock between Italy and Spain? Because to me it's very, very similar. I've been only to Barcelona so far, but it was very weird because I went when there were a lot of riots against, because they have this weird thing to say they're Catalonia and not Spain. And for people who are not from there, it's hard to understand. And that also, I don't know, the coffee was not that good as I expected, but the rest was super cool.
No, the culture is quite similar, but maybe like you said, it was also maybe because for me it was the first experience abroad alone, and so it was like so positive and so nice to meet all these students from all over part of the world.
And so how was studying in Spain? How was the difference between Italy and Spain?
I remember that in the university, I could see the different approach to teach and to see architecture. For example, for my biggest design project there, I have had a professor, Antonio Jiménez Torresillas, a famous architect in Granada. I had lucky that I had the possibility to work and study with him. Even all the students knew that you had to work hard with him, but it was worth it. Although it was a famous architect, his lectures were colloquial. He didn't stand on a altar judging the students like some professor in Italy.
Like a lot of professors in Italy.
Yeah, but it was really like a continuous exchange of ideas and opinion. He never flanked a student's idea, but he always encouraged us to develop this initial idea. So it was like so nice, and I didn't even have to speak the polite form to him. And the weekly reviews of the projects were not individual, but the whole class participated.
How many people were you in the class almost?
This was like, it was a small class, only 12, 15 people.
Okay. Because in Rome, all the design classes are like 70, 80.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm doing the podcast, because all the professors in Rome make the students feel like they're this God, this entity, and that whatever they're going to do in their life, it's not going to be that good.
Yeah.
So I want the people that listen, not only students, but in general, to see that it's a very hands-on world where you do something. So you have to be theoretical, but also very hands-on, and that you have to follow just the steps in your life, and you'll find the professional way.
This is really, really important. And this teaching approach struck me positively, of course. And something that also I found it really positive, it was that during my experience there, I could also take some courses in other faculties. For example, I took a course of urbanistic at the Faculty of Engineering, a course of urban sustainability at the Faculty of Sociology. And this way of leaving the student the choice of being able to deal with different topics and to try so many different realities is something that I think it's very positive, and I think in Italian university should copy. At the Politecnico di Milano, it would be very nice if you as student could take, I don't know, lessons at the design faculty.
And did you do any exams that were easier to do in Spain than in Italy, or was as hard as in Italy to study in Spain as an Erasmus student?
Good question. I have to say that the difficulty could be the same. Maybe in Erasmus, my concentration in university was not so high because I had a lot of distractions. But like I said, it was really nice to. I worked also with students from Granada or from the north of Spain, and it was really nice to see also how can they approach to these projects. And but the difficulty, I have to say, that would soon.
It was difficult because you were drunk most of it.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. No, Christina, don't listen. But a part of the studies in Granada, I just think that's a big moment also for your life because you met Theresa there.
Yes, I met Theresa, my actually girlfriend.
No, she's your fiancée.
My fiancée, yes.
And soon wife. So
yeah, yes. So it was like a big change in my life. I have also to say ciao Theresa.
No, of course, or hallo Theresa in German. So we make it more international.
Yes.
No, I think it's very cool, and I think this is also something very cool about you because you are a couple that's I don't know. There is every year a statistic how many couples are generated through Erasmus. So how many Erasmus children also there are. So
yeah, but
it's cool to do that experience.
Yeah, and it's something that we didn't think about. We started to see each other in at the end of our university time, and then we started a long distance relationship, and then we live together. We started to live together.
Still together.
Yeah,
very
still together.
Good. And when you finished the Erasmus, you went back to Milan, and was your final year, or how did it work?
Yeah, more or less. Because when I came back from the Spanish experience, I didn't want to come back with the old professor. I'm not sure if I already said, but the topic of his design workshop was a student residence, and I personally never found the subject so interesting. I had come to find out that another professor was dealing with the subject of sports architecture. And because of my big passion about football and stadium, I found
soccer for the Americans.
Calcio for the Italian.
Calcio, that's the real deal.
I found that perfect for me.
But so how it works in Milan, based on the professor you pick, then you get the subject of your thesis. So all the students that are with that professor do the same subject?
Yes.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Because in Rome, everybody have their own subject.
No, in there it was like that. One professor had a subject, and you had to stay there and to do and to plan and draw what he said. And
do they do every year the same subject?
Yes.
Oh, they're so lazy.
Yeah.
Because in Germany it works the same way, but sorry. In Italy, in the design workshops, in Rome, every design workshop is exactly that. So if you go back to Rome to study now, and if you study the first year or the second year with my professors, you'll be doing the same projects, I'm sure. They changed maybe once 10 years, I don't know.
This is unbelievable. I don't know how can they do that.
No, for them it's very easy. Well, for them it's very easy because they need to do also other things like being architects probably. And so when they know very good this subject, they will be easy for them. But it's also good for the students because here in Germany, every student gets the same subject for the thesis. And they do sort of competition. So I think it's good because you can have 5 people that do the same thing and you can see which one is the best. And so your thesis topic is also another reason why we're having this chat. So what was the topic?
Yeah, like I said, it was like a football stadium. And since I was a child, I always play football. And
which is your favorite team?
There is only one team, AC Milan.
Oh, Rossonero. So all the people from Inter are gonna hate this episode, but you have to deal with it.
Yeah, because like I said, it's I always play football, and like the 90% of the kids in Italy, my dream was to be a football player
And have a velina.
Yeah, maybe.
I was thinking a few days ago that back in the days when I was kid, the dream was to be a football player and having a girlfriend like Velina. Velina are like dancers in this everyday show, on the television. And I was thinking now the girls dream to be Veline, and the kids, the boys, still dream to be football players, or now also trapper and. I think the girls do not dream anymore to be Velina, but to be influencer. So it's so weird.
Yeah, but it was really, really nice because my dream, like I said, it was to be a football player. Then my dream changed a little bit because I wanted to be a football player and play football in a stadium that I designed by myself. And currently, my dream is just design a stadium.
Because because you discovered your feet are not good enough for being a football player.
Because now I'm too old. I'm gray hair, so.
And so you designed this stadium for how was exactly the subject?
Only to say a small thing, because I thought about where my passion for this stadium came by, and like I said, I always play football. I started when I was 5, and nowadays I'm still playing here in Germany. And maybe the fact that almost every weekend I was in a different sports center to play against other teams during our championship, and to see so many different, dressing rooms, bleachers, fields, bars, affect me and increase my interest for this sport. Of course, I played only in a small stadium, except one time when I played in San Siro, a 40 minutes match before an AC Milan game, where my brother even also scored a goal, but this is another story. Sometimes when I played, I thought, how could this small field, small bleacher be better? How many fans would have cheered at one of my goals if the grandstand had been designed differently? And of course, I always was fascinated by big stadiums, but particularly I'm falling in love with 2 of them, and you know both.
One is San Siro, I guess.
Yes, and the other is in Rome. It's an old stadium.
I don't know.
Colosseo.
The Colosseum. Well, that's a little bit an older stadium.
Yeah, it's a really, really old one.
I wouldn't wish to place anything in that stadium. Because the chance getting out of that stadium were not big.
Yeah, but it's every time that I was in San Siro, it was like a full body experience. Started from the subway station. So this walk that you take from there to the stadium, the quartz, the firecracker, the paninari.
Paninari are like the food trucks in the other countries. But in Rome, we call them zozzone. Zozzone means someone very dirty because they're usually very full of fat and dirty.
But the panini, they are really, really tasty. And of course that this emotion can obviously give you many other stadiums in the world. But the difference with the other one is that personally I've always found San Siro incredible beauty and elegant, both from the inside and outside. And this this emotion that you have when you see suddenly 80,000 people all together in a frame and you have goosebumps. It's really nice. And despite its size, the several changes through the years, the use of so much concrete, the fact that it has been enlarged and renovated several times, has always maintained its characteristic, and these curves that follow one to another, this space of full of empty, and I really like it.
No, it looks very beautiful, but I don't know if the people who are in an architectural field maybe know that now it's being discussed that sooner or later will be actually gone.
Yeah, there is a big chance. Yeah. So,
and so this influenced your idea of the thesis, but your thesis wasn't a stadium of the size of San Siro.
No, no, it was not so big. All the other students that was in this course of study designed a sports hall or a swimming pool. I was the only who would design a football stadium. We could choose between fixed areas where we can do our project, and all were in Sesto San Giovanni. It's like a city near Milan. At the beginning, I really wanted to design a big football stadium. And in that days, Inter, the other football team in Milan, the second one, wanted to build a new one. And so I remember that I went to the headquarters of Inter and I asked a meeting with some marketing or development manager because I wanted to design something real. And I wanted to ask collaboration. I wrote also a couple mails. I did several phone calls, but then obviously nothing happened.
They didn't reply at all, or
no?
Or they just said no?
No, they said, okay, could be a great idea. Let's stay in contact. But then it was too big. And then I decided with my professor that considering the size of these available project areas, a small stadium could be better for the contest. And for this reason, I ended up designing a stadium for 15,000 people. But it was really interesting. It was not easy to design an entire football stadium by myself. But at the end, it was really satisfying.
What were the main subjects you needed, the main problems you needed to solve? I know that's a lot, but the main, structure, secure, how deep it was your design? How was the story of this design?
Mm-hmm. It was deep, of course. And of course, these ways also, it was really important, not only the structure or the building, you had also to think how 15,000 people can go all together in a stadium, and in 5 or 10 minutes could, with corridors, exitway, go out. And so it was like all the process, and also it was not only like a project there in this area. I also thought I had to think about how could people go there. So it was not only like with this public transportation or also with private. So you have to really think also in the urbanistic way.
Yeah, it's like an infrastructure. But did you have the chance back in the days as a student to? Because I've seen some documentaries about the Olympic Stadium in Beijing, so that they do some simulations, how people get in and how people get out. Of course, they did the best simulations in the world because it's a stage. But they did a simulation to compare it with the Colosseum back in the days, and in today's stadium, and the Colosseum was better.
Yeah, I mean, for this reason, I really, really liked Colosseo because I was always fascinated how the Roman in the 72 after Christ could design and build so a perfect and beauty machine capable of accommodating more than 50,000 people and emptying itself in a few minutes thanks to the efficient corridors and exitways. It was like capable also of hosting all kind of events, from gladiator fights to Naumachie, where the stadium was literally filled with water and simulations of naval battles took place. It was unbelievable.
I always tell you, Rome is way better than Milano. I don't need even to do it. You do it yourself.
yeah, but like that this the Vitruvian triangle: utilitas, firmitas, venustas, solidity, function, and beauty. And Colosseo had all the three.
And so you designed. Did you design the stadium without any interruptions, or you did other international experience in between?
Yes.
How long did it take you to design your thesis?
It was 1.5 years.
1.5 years. So you did all the research.
Yes.
And did you work how many students did you work on that subject?
I was alone for my project, but in our
faculty.
Yeah, I have to say in our course of study, or with this professor that did this sport architecture, we were like 20 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was also not so big. But yeah, like you said, during my master thesis, I had to do also an internship. And in that period, my girlfriend, who is German, were three...
Hi, Theresa.
Hi again. Were for 3 months in Buenos Aires, Argentina, because
Argentina,
because she did an internship at the German embassy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was cool. So I decided that instead of going there and meet her only a few days during a holiday,
because a day is a flight probably.
Yeah, I could be better like organize an internship there too, and so I started to write email. I contacted different architecture offices, and then I found one that accepted me for an internship, and it was the Studio Eisenson. It was really, really a super beautiful experience. I worked there for a month in the competition team, and we did an international concourse for a reconversion for an old prison in Cordoba in Argentina, and we won also an honorable mention. It was really cool, the people, the mentality. I really liked also the atmosphere there.
And knew already the language because it's
Yes.
Spanish.
Yeah.
Is it very different, the Spanish from the Argentinian Spanish, or?
I have to say that a little bit. There are a few words that they are different, but also the pronunciation is different because in Spain they put the F like this through the teeth, but in Argentina they speak like an Italian that speaks
Spanish. Like a Roman guy speaking Spanish.
Yeah, but it was really, really and maybe also for this reason. Also, if I was more than 10,000 kilometers away, I felt like home. Perhaps also because the influence that the Italian immigrants that left when they moved there at the beginning of the last century is still present in the streets.
But did you design also stadiums in this studio where you?
No, like I said, it was like only 1 month, and we did like this reconversion from this old prison. But it was also like a really interesting something because when I was there, of course, that sometimes I spoke with colleagues about my thesis and my stadium. And one of the boss told me that he knew someone, the architect José Aslan, the son of the architect of the Estadio Monumental, Jorge Aslan. And he told me that he could arrange a meeting with him if I wanted. And so the Monumental is with the Bombonera and the Maracanã, one of the most iconic stadium in South America, where River Plate plays.
Oh, so we need to tell Daniela Adani. Daniela Adani, it's Italian journalist, crazy about
River Plate.
River Plate.
And of course I was shocked. And of course I also accepted. Can you imagine me alone for like 2-3 hours in a private meeting at home of José Aslan? It was like a really, really nice conversation. We spoke about football.
You have spoken to his son, or like?
Yeah, with the son. With the son.
Okay, but is he an architect too?
Yeah, he is also an architect, and he also worked for the renovation at the Monumental. So he gave me advices about detail, for example, that I can also use in my stadium. And it was really a nice conversation, because he was at the time 75 years old. It was already like a little bit.
How old is that stadium?
Well, it's this classical South American stadium that they don't have roof, that they are like a big arena. And if I have to say, I like more the Bombonera, because it's like this. If you see the stadium from the top, from above, it's like a D.
Okay.
It's really, really interesting. It's crowd. The other one, the Monumental, they have also what is the name of English? It is Pista di Atletica.
So the track, the athletic track.
Yeah. And so it was like not so like I said.
The people weren't that close to.
Yes, but I was there also to see a football match, when I was there in Argentina. So a match. It was like Argentina versus Colombia.
Did you see Messi playing? Or?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Messi.
It was only 20 minutes, but it was enough.
Well, and so what I wanted to ask you, did you go to this meeting with actually some plans of your own project, or? Yeah,
I had some sketches and so, and he told me, like, he gave me some advice, and but it was nice because we spoke, of course, about football, architecture, stadium, but also about life, about tango, for example, because in Argentina it's like so popular there.
Probably it's like having a coffee or something.
Yeah,
everybody do it.
And it would have been nice to stay there longer, but like I said, I was there only 1 month, and then I took like 2 or 3 weeks vacation in Uruguay, Brazilian, and it was really nice. But of course, they also offered me to stay there for another competition, but duty was calling, because my professor and my stadium were waiting to me in Italy. So I came back, I graduated, and directly I did with my brother the Italian state examination.
Okay. So you came back, you complete your thesis. I guess with the how many points you scored on the final?
108
out of 110.
Yes, and my brother the same.
So he's real twins.
Yeah, really twins.
I have 1 point behind you, 107.
Yeah, it's both really nice notes, of course.
And so you did right after you graduated, you did the exam of state, or because in Italy to become architect you need to do the exam. Yes. In Germany it's more complicated. You need to do like 2 years of working as an architect.
Yeah. If I remember well, I finished my master thesis in April, and in July I did my Italian state examination. And like you, I think, already explained during one of your old episodes, the Italian state examination, it's a little bit anachronistic, because it's like there is like these 3 different parts, and the first day you have 8 hours to think, design, and draw with your hands, ruler, and set square an entire project. And that is already like out of date, because during the 5 university years we design almost only with software. And there are usually 2-3 topics that could be like residence house, a hotel, a hospital, or everything. And you have normally to draw maps, facade, details. You have also to calculate surfaces and write text to explain and express your ideas. I remember I chose to design a residential building in a empty space, I don't know, how do you say cortina edilizia, building facade?
The particular facade, it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what's the English name exactly of that facade, but some sort of facade.
Like this. Then the second part, it's like the day after you have 4 hours to write a paper. It's like they give you different drafts to articulate, and explain the topic. Could be something about famous architects, about specific matter, I don't know. I choose the using of the natural light in the architecture. It was also interesting. And then the last part, when you pass the 2 first parts, 2 or 3 weeks later, you have a test for the last one, an oral exam where you speak about your project, and then about the rules, the regulation, and the law of constructions. Very specific, very detailed.
And how much did you study for that exam? Like the time between April and July, so like 8 months, 9 months?
No, a little bit.
Oh no, because April and then so like 2-3 months.
Yeah, it was really not so much. And after my master thesis, I really didn't feel like to prepare myself for something so big and important after months of stress for my thesis. But then I had luck, because I could do that with my brother, because he graduated some months before, and we decided to prepare the state examination together. And it was like 2 months, also really stressed, but it was nice. And I don't know if you know already, but in Milan, it's usually really hard to pass these 3 parts. And the percentage for the people that pass those exams is only 30%. It's like the lowest percentage in all Italy. And for this reason, you can hear like a lot of people that try that exam several times, or the people that they go to South Italy to try to do that, because there the exams have a higher percentage of promotion. Nothing against the south of Italy, of course.
Well, that's very funny. I've heard a lot of stories about the exam in Rome that, you don't know how you pass and how you don't pass. It's I think the whole idea of this exam is stupid, but I think that if they do it like in Germany, it will be even less possible, because the situation for architects in Italy is so bad that it's very hard to find a place to work for 2 years and do all the phases and stuff like this. So maybe it makes sense there. And so you passed the exam, you and your brother both.
Yes.
So you're very successful guys.
No, it was like, it was cool. It was weird with luck.
And then afterwards you were graduated, you potentially an architect. And how did you transition to the professional life? What did you start working?
Yeah. Before I have to drink a little bit.
Yeah, you can drink. People, we drink. It's just...
Bevo.
We are here, and the back sounds are making everything more real, more authentic.
Yes.
In the new studio. So you completed all the exams and you needed to start working something.
Yes.
So how did you find your first job?
Also, I started looking a job, and something that I used a lot was a career service. It was like a platform from Politecnico di Milano, where the companies and the architecture office could direct publish their job offers. And I applied myself for a different position. And after only 2-3 weeks, I received a call from Louis Vuitton Mode Hennessy, this global luxury brand, for an intern position in the facility management department in the Sephora company. This perfumery and cosmetic and beauty treatments company. We had work in close cooperation with the construction and visual merchandising department and help them with new stores opening, the renovation of the old one, check the situation of the totality of the Sephora shop in Italy, and the optimization of them. And I have to say that that was my first experience in this retail world, and I found that really interesting to see this world from inside. And it was also, for me, like a different feeling to be like almost the only architect in our Milan headquarters with more than 100 employees. But after 6 months, I have to say that I missed a little bit the real architecture world, because I found this job a little bit repetitive, also because we had to collaborate with an external architecture office that helped us with the draw of these executive plans. And also we couldn't design the interior design on our own. We had also to deal with the Sephora Style Center in France, which dictated the rules and the guidelines.
Yeah, because you have a brand that needs to look the same all over the world.
Yes. And so it was like, beyond that, after these 6 months of internship, my bosses were happy about my work, and they offered me 6 months more of internship.
How long? You had 6 months and they offered you another 6 months?
Yes, but even though the pay wasn't bad, I didn't want to get stuck in a job that couldn't value what I really value, what I had studied during my university years. And so I decided to say goodbye and to focus on something else.
And what was that something else?
No, it was like exactly at that time. Some people that we knew, they had just taken over like an old farmhouse in their near Turin in Piemonte, and were willing to renovate it. A building in the middle of nature. They intended to start like a large vegetable garden to produce fruits, vegetables in a completely organic way. And they asked me to me and Andrea if we would be willing to develop their renovation project. And they wanted to involve like young people with fresh ideas. And of course, we were really very happy about this. And we started to go there to the site several times to take the measures, to draw the current state of the building in AutoCAD, and to outline a first project of reuse. But only after the first meetings, we realized that the owners were not so willing to pay. They probably wanted to give young architects a chance to gain experience, but at the same time without paying. And so the project didn't go ahead. But I remember that this experience had left a bitter taste in my mouth, and I was a bit afraid that this could be the norm in Italy. And so I started to look around in also direction Germany.
Yeah, because you were still like having a relationship with Theresa. So how did you manage to move towards Germany?
In that moment, I started sending other curricula abroad and to architecture studies that could give me the possibility to build something bigger, like stadium, for example. And so the first curriculum I sent was to GMP, an architecture office in Germany, Gerkan Margun Parna. And I was surprised because after a few weeks, I received a response but it was not about my spontaneous application. It was an invitation from them to take part in their annual workshop at their AAC Academy. It was the Academy for Architectural Culture, which was to take place in their Hamburg headquarters. And at that time, I wasn't aware of their academy. I was supposed to go to Hamburg for about a month with other architects from all over the world to develop a project. And that year, the theme was a natural museum. I thought it might be a great way to get to know the environment and to make myself know. So I accepted. And the workshop was more or less so structured. We were like about 20 people. We were divided into 5 groups. And each group had a tutor who was already an established architect and who would follow the development of the project. And at the end of the month, each group was supposed to present a project. And during the initial part of the workshop, we visit a natural museum in Hamburg and Berlin. We visit important buildings such the Elbphilharmonie. And during the workshop, we had intermediate presentations in which also famous architects came to make like corrections together and give us a speech or a presentation.
Which architects came?
It was this time it was only German architects, and there was also like one from Frankfurt. It was
Forster. Foster, no?
It was Dudla.
Okay. Max Dudla.
Yeah, and so it was like it was interesting also to hear something different. And I can't tell you how much we work. Inside the rooms, there were also sleeping corners for little snaps. And sometimes we had, of course, to work at night too. But it was really a positive experience.
In which software did you work there?
There was like all kind of software. You can also you can use AutoCAD, ArchiCAD. It was like Cinema 4D. Yeah, it was 3D Studio Max. It was all,
everything.
Yeah, because all the people they came from all over the world. They could.
From where were your group?
My group, it was like with an architect from Poland.
Poland, yeah.
Yeah, Poland. One from Vietnam, and one from
Italy.
Yeah, yes, I'm from Italy. One from Germany.
Ah, okay, so from everywhere.
Yeah, but it was like really, it was a good mix. And
how did it end up? How was the project? Did you have a competition, or the goal was just to make a project?
It was only to make a project. At the end, it was like we had only one area, and we did like there are these 4 different museum, 5, right? Because the group were 5, and it was nice also to see how the other group they developed the project.
And you said how long? 5 weeks?
Yeah, it was like 1 month. Yeah, It was 4 or 5 weeks, and yeah.
Did they pay the expenses to go to this workshop, or
it was all expenses? Yeah, and we stayed in a really cool hostel in the center of the city, and.
So if they still, I don't know if they still do it, but people can go and check.
Yeah,
but do you need to be a graduated architect? Or
I think so. I'm not sure about that, but there is like the AAC website, so people can go there and see that. And at the end, I was really on good terms, not only with the other workshop participants, but also with the organizers. And so much so that once I was back in Italy, some weeks later, they contacted me again to do a second workshop which was to take place a few months later. But at that time, I was back to work at Sephora, because as soon as the first workshop from GMP to Hamburg was over, Sephora had called me back and offered me a 6 months contract, but this time full paid. And at that moment, I have to be honest, I didn't feel like repeating the experience I had just had at the academy and to leave a job with a good pay. And so, but I would obviously have been very interested in a job in their architecture studio. So that's why I refused the invitation to this second workshop, but we decided and we were agreed to an interview in Hamburg to work at GMP. So I went there. I went again to Hamburg, and I have to say the interview had gone really very, very well. I really thought that I would receive a job
offer.
Yeah. Also because once the interview was over, they showed me the whole office, the place where I would work, and even introduced me to the team. But unfortunately, however, a few days later, I received a cold shower. The position had not been assigned to me due to lack of work experience in Germany. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
In that time, I obviously felt very downhearted. Also because in my head, I really thought that after the conclusion of my second contract at Sephora, I could transfer to Hamburg and start to work with GMP. So for all this reason, considering that up to that moment I had this long distance relationship with my girlfriend, I decided to join her here in Frankfurt, where she had just started working in a startup. So I suddenly found myself in Germany, but without a job and without speak the language correctly.
So wait a second, you didn't get a job in GMP, and how long after did you quit your job at Sephora?
No, it was this second part in Sephora. It was only 6 months, so I only waited that the contract was
Finished.
gone. Yeah, finished. Okay.
And then you came to Frankfurt.
Yes.
And that's 2000?
That was
2013, 14? No, 16.
Yeah, it was...
because you're 1 year later than...
Yeah, 16.
So you're 4 years now.
Yeah.
Very good.
It was.
And so you came here, no German, and then you started studying German, or how was?
Yeah. I spent the first month sending curricula and studying the language. I remember getting a lot of answer, and they all said quite the same thing, lack of experience in Germany. And so it was, but it was not so bad, because after a month, only 1 month, a relatively short time, I found an architecture office. And it was like, my girlfriend told me that in a city 50 kilometers from Frankfurt, an architect of her acquaintance was looking for a reinforcement for his team. And I was there. I did like an interview, and I started my test Probezeit. I don't know.
Yeah, like the trial, first 6 months.
Yeah, it was about, but only 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. They did 2 weeks
really
trial.
short.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you started working.
And then I started it direct. And then I was also shocked because they paid me also these 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's a culture shock when you come from Italy, because they're like, yeah, we are going to hire you and we're going to give you like money, like normal money, and we're going to treat you well. And
Unbelievable, because in Italy.
Well, I don't want to shit talk Italy, but they need to do better job, people in Italy. If you want not to be shit talked, then pay people good or pay them fairly.
Yeah.
And then how long did you work at that office?
I stayed there 7-8 months. I have to say it was a small office, only 6 people, all German, totally different environment from what I would have experienced at GamePay. At first I thought I could also speak a little bit English, but I realized that from the first day that I could only speak German and sometimes dialect. But the projects were in any case interesting, and they gave me a lot of confidence, and we planned the renovation of a city center, a burger house, an extension of office, and I worked through the different phases, the project from the initial, the fertile part, the concept, to the executive drawings.
So you gained the needed experience.
Exactly.
And then you applied to some offices too?
Yeah, it was really like this. And I started after these 7, 8 months, I started looking for some other offices direct in Frankfurt, because I was tired of taking an hour and a half to get to that workplace. And I wanted to work again in a bigger and more international studio. And then I went to MOV, and there I met you.
Yeah, this is how we met. This is the story about. I remember when back in the days when I was working there, the secretary was passing by me, and she said, "Oh, and we are gonna have this other Italian guy." And I thought, probably it's an Italian guy that's born here, and then he's probably not a real Italian. And she goes like, no, it's like he's from Milano and he's here and he's just, I don't know, a few months or something. I'm like, oh, really, really Italian. Then you came the first day and we were talking German until our boss didn't leave. And I was like, so you talk Italian? you talk Italian too.
Yeah, it was really nice. And I have to say that it was...
Yeah, we have this dream team days where we were 50% Italian team. And then our boss would come by and he would be like, don't talk Italian. Don't talk Italian.
Yeah, but we did like some competition together and we won some. So it was,
it was fun. It was fun to work together. But, well, I want to tell you that I was thinking while we were talking, because you say your dream is to build a stadium. And 2024... it will be Euro 2024 in Germany.
Yes, so I have to...
So not to put pressure to your bosses now, but that's your occasion.
Yeah, this is really a big occasion, and I think that could be really nice. So like you said, I have to speak with my boss that, I don't know, we have to plan a stadium. I don't know if if they're going to do something in Frankfurt, because the stadium is pretty good here. Yeah, maybe a little bit renovation or something like that. But this is really a good occasion. We'll see in 2 years.
You need to check it out. I was thinking something else during the podcast. Mm-hmm. We didn't say hi to Antonio.
Also to Andrea.
Andrea, we nominated him.
Okay.
And Andrea has the opportunity to decide if he wants to come later on the podcast and be the first brother.
This could be like a good idea. And okay, ciao papà.
Of course.
Ci vediamo presto.
Ciao Antonio, ci vediamo presto. So thank you very much for doing the podcast. It was fun. You're the first one in the new studio, the new flat also.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was really a good conversation with you.
So it wasn't that scary as
no, I have to say it was really funny.
A lot of people say that when they listen to the podcast, they think it's very long, but when they do it, they think it's just 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It felt like that for you too.
I can go like I can speak like 2 hours more.
Yeah, of course, because we needed to fly through the topics.
Yeah,
but it was fun.
It was fun. Thank you very much. Grazie mille, Georgi. Come sempre, boss numero uno.
Thank you for being here. No, we are forgetting something. Mm-hmm. So, because all the people that come on the podcast can become famous, where people can find you on the internet or social, like LinkedIn, Instagram.
Yeah, I can say that LinkedIn, for example, they can contact me there, Alessandro Cavarretta, And if someone want to contact me also in Instagram, it's also possible.
Okay, then I'll put links to your accounts and people, if you're building stadiums or people from MOV, if you're listening, go fucking building stadiums. And of course, hi to all the people at MOV. I'm still friends with them.
Also because
a great time there. I have to say, best office. I did a lot of stuff there, so it's fun. Okay, so thank you, Alessandro, and support the podcast. Go to follow the accounts of the podcast. Don't be the jerks. Just go press follow.
Do it.
Bye, people.
Ciao.
Bye. Ciao.